everybody, welcome to my very first ever piano tutorial. I hope that you'll enjoy it. I want to say a quick thank you to my friend Max for letting me borrow his grand piano and for helping me with all of the filming today. What I'm going to be teaching you is the accompaniment that I played in my cover of As If It's Your Last by BLACKPINK, and I'll put a link to that in the description, so you might want to see that first before watching this. And I'm going to be teaching it in sections, so intro, verse 1, pre-chorus, chorus, verse 2, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, final chorus. The key is in F minor. I'm going to be showing hands separately and then together with an idea of the pedal and the timings. I hope you'll find it helpful. So we're going to start with the intro section, which should sound like this. Start with the right hand and we're going F, C, A, and then repeat. And then the next bar is F, C, A flat, and then hold it. So together that sounds up to speed like this. And then the next bit goes F, B flat, A flat, and repeat it. And then the last one is F, D flat, A flat, and hold. So then those two bars sound like this. And once you add the pedal, it's... Then the left hand adds in the chords. So we're playing these in fifths. So first we've got F, which is F and C. So like this. And then the next bar is A flat, so you've got A flat and E flat, and then you reach over the other hand and play F and E flat, which is mimicking just a little bit of that in the background. So then you go down to E flat, which is E flat and B flat together, and then D flat, which is D flat and A flat, and do the same thing, but you add another E flat. So together that should sound like this. Hold the pedal. Hold it again. And then you repeat the whole thing. So with the hands together it should sound like this. Let's go slowly first. Up to speed, it's like this. So we're going to repeat that whole section now that we've just learnt, except in the left hand we've just got a couple of modifications. So the first chord, the F chord, we don't play this for the whole bar. Instead we do this for half the bar and then repeat the C and also add in the higher F. So it should go... because this chord is the same, and then still go up. And then down to the E flat chord. And then repeat this B flat and the E flat. So, back down to D flat. So then if we do that up to speed with the pedal added in, you're changing the pedal on each chord, so we go... So now if we put that repeat section together, it would sound like this, slowly. So that's the entire intro section done. So now we're going to move on to verse 1, which should sound like this. start with the right hand. So we're beginning on an F major chord, which is A, C, F, and then repeating the F major chord a bit higher. So F, A, C. And then we're going to E flat major, E flat, G, B, and then B flat major. So we've got D, F, B flat. So if I sing along just so we get an idea of the timings, and you're changing the pedal every time we change chords, so. So if we now go over what you're doing in the left hand while that's happening, again you're playing the chords in fifths, so F and C, you're holding this for 2 bars, and then you go up to E flat over here, E flat and B flat, and then the final bar is B flat, so B flat and F. In time it would sound like da 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 da. So if we put that section together, and it should sound like this. The next bit uses an F major chord like this, and then we go to E flat major, and then B flat major, and then back to E flat major. So if we were singing along, it would sound like this. So with the left hand, you're playing the same chords and notes as before, but it's slightly different. So you've got F major in fifths, and then E flat again, B flat, but then this time you go back to E flat. So the timing's a bit different. Instead of holding F for 2 bars, you only hold it for 1, so it should sound like this. So when we put the hands together, it should sound like this. The second half of the verse is very similar. It uses the same chord pattern. So we're starting again on F major, and you play this chord twice, and then you do it again, but in first inversion. So you've got A, C, F. Play this one twice as well. And then we're going to E flat major, same place as before, E flat, G, B flat. So you play this one twice. And then B flat major, again, same place as before, D, F, B flat. And you also play this one twice. We're changing the pedal just every bar, and it should sound like this with the voice. This time in the left hand, the chords are the same, but it's just slightly different. So we're going F major chord with F and C. We hold this for 3 beats, and then we repeat the F. So like this. And then we go up to the F major chord again, but just an octave higher, with the same notes, F and C. Hold this for 3 beats, and then repeat the F. I'm moving places so that I'm ready to go to the next chord, which is E flat major. So we've got E flat, B flat, and then repeat the E flat. I'm moving down here so I have access to the B flat chord. So we've got this for 1 beat, and then go down to, which is B flat and F, and then you repeat the B flat. So up to speed, this should sound like this. If we put the hands together, it should be like this. This is the last section of the verse. We're starting on F major. We play this chord twice. Then go down to E flat, play this twice. B flat, play this one twice as well. And then back to E flat, same notes. So if we put that in time. left hand for this bit goes like this. That's F and C for 3 beats. Repeat the F, then go to E flat, repeat the E flat, and then repeat the B flat, go back to E flat. And you don't repeat this because then we're moving on to the pre-chorus. So with the voice, that should sound like this. Altogether, this should sound like this. Now that we've finished the verse, we're going to move on to the pre-chorus where Rose starts singing, which should sound like this. We're going to start with the right hand, so we're now in an F minor chord, so we're going A flat, C, F, we play that twice, and then go on to A flat major, C, E flat, A flat. Again, we play this twice, and then we go to E flat major, B flat, E flat, G, we do this twice. And then D flat major, so A flat, D flat, F. We do that twice as well. With the voice, that section should sound like this. La 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 la. Now we're moving on to the left hand, so you're playing these 3 notes, F, C, F, all together, and then on the 4th beat, you repeat the F. Then we're going on to A flat major, so A flat, E flat, A flat. On the 4th beat you repeat the A flat. And then down to E flat major, E flat, B flat, E flat. And then on the 4th beat you repeat this E flat. And then we're going to D flat, D flat, A flat, D flat. And again you repeat this last note. So with the voice that should be la da 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 da. Together it should sound like this. The second half of the pre-chorus mainly uses the same chord, so we've got, again, F minor, play it twice, A flat, play it twice, E flat, play that twice. But then this time, instead of playing the D flat major chord, you're playing B flat major. These 3 notes, B flat, D natural, F. And you don't repeat this twice like you did with all the others. You play it once, and then move up here and play D flat, C, E flat, D flat, E flat. So this chord is now B flat minor, so you've got B flat, D flat, F. So that little bit up here, that's 1 beat, and then... So with the voice, it should sound like this. So then in the left hand, again, it's mainly the same. You've got F, C, F, repeat the F, A flat, E flat, A flat, repeat the A flat, E flat, B flat, E flat, repeat the E flat, and then we're going B flat, F, and you just hold that while you're doing the other stuff in the right hand. And that's the end of the pre-chorus for the left hand. So with the voice, it should sound like this. So all together, it should sound like this. Now we're moving on to the chorus, which should sound like this. let's start with the right hand. You start with the D major chord, so we're going F, A flat, B flat. Play that twice. And then we're going to A flat major, A flat, C, E flat. We play this twice as well. Then E flat major, G, B flat, E flat. Play this twice. And then F minor, A flat, C, F. And play this twice as well. So if you're singing along, it should be onto the left hand. We're starting with D flat, A flat, D flat. Hold that for 3 beats, and then on the 4th beat we're repeating the D flat again, and then onto A flat, E flat, A flat. Again on the last beat repeat the A flat, and then E flat, which is E flat, B flat, E flat. Repeat the E flat, and then F, C, F, and repeat the F. With the voice, that should sound like this, and I'm adding the pedal as well. Remember, we changed the pedal on each chord. So we put that all together, and we play that twice through, so it should sound like this. So then the second bit of the chorus is the bit that goes as if it's your last, as if it's your last. And this is slightly different the next time we'll play it after the second chorus, but for now what we're doing is in the left hand we're playing a D flat major chord but with an added C. So it's D flat, F, A flat, C. We play that twice, so we go. And then we go on to A flat major, which is E flat, A flat, C. We play that twice. Then on to E flat major, E flat, G, B flat. Play that twice. And then on to F minor, so F, A flat, C. And then instead of repeating that twice, you do that once, and then play, so F, A flat, B. But the B goes, so we go, so the rhythm would go, and then you repeat that section. So with the voice it should go, as if it's your last, as if it's your last, as if it's your last night, hold on, love, as if it's your last, as if it's your last, as if tomorrow will not come. And the second time you don't do that extra bit, you just play this chord once and then just hold it. Now onto the left hand, we're playing D flat, A flat, D flat. Repeat the D flat on the last beat, and then we're going back to fifths again now, so it's A flat, and E flat, and then repeat the A flat, onto E flat major, E flat, B flat, repeat the E flat, and then F and C. This time you play it like that. Then with the voice it should sound like this. As if it's your last, as if it's your last, as if it's your last night, hold on, love, as if it's your last, as if it's your last, as if tomorrow will not come. We just hold it that time like we did in the right hand. This bit together should sound like this. Now we're moving on to verse 2, so if we take that from the last note of the chorus, it should sound like this. Let's look at the right hand first. If we take it from the last chord of the chorus, You hold that as you wait for the left hand to go. And then you do this, which is B flat minor, so F, B flat, D flat, and you play that 3 times. And then you go back to F minor, so F, A flat, C. Play that twice. And then go on to A flat, so C, E flat, A flat. Again, you play that twice. And then E flat, so E flat, G, B flat. Play that twice as well. And then D flat, so D flat, F, A flat. With the voice it sounds like this. I'ma fall in love, baby. You can fit and catch me. Give you all of this, baby. Call me pretty and nasty. So if we move on to the left hand, again starting from where the chorus finishes off, you've got this chord, and then you go F, C, F in this rhythm. And then you go to B flat and F, play that 3 times. And then you've got F and C, this is where the voice comes in. On the 4th beat you repeat the F, and then A flat and E flat. Repeat the A flat, E flat and B flat. Repeat the E flat, and then D flat and A flat. Repeat the D flat. With the voice it should sound like this. I'ma fall in love, baby. You can fit and catch me. Give you all of this, baby. Call me pretty and nasty. With the hands together it should sound like this. So then the second half of verse 2 starts again on F minor. So you have F, A flat, C. You play that twice. But then you go to B flat major. So that's D natural, F, B flat. Play that twice. And then you've got D flat, F, A flat. Play this one twice. And then you've got A flat major, so that's C, E flat, A flat. But this time you don't play it twice, you play it once, and then go to E flat major, which is E flat, G, B flat. And so with the voice, that would sound like this. Cause we gonna get it, my love, you can bet it on black, we gon' double the stack on the wall. I'll be the body and you be my Clyde, we ride or die, X's and O's. Now onto the left hand, again it's F and C together, and you repeat the F. Then we go up to B flat and F, you repeat the B flat, and then D flat and A flat, repeat the D flat, then A flat and E flat, and then E flat and B flat together. So again, with the voice, that's cause we gonna get it, my love, you can bet it on black, we gon' double the stack on the wall. I'll be the bunny and you be my Clyde, we ride or die. So when you put those 2 hands together, it should sound like this. Now we're moving on to the pre-chorus. It's a bit different. So altogether it should sound like this. Let's start with the right hand. And the only difference with this bit here is that this time, instead of doing a B flat minor chord, you do a B flat major chord. So instead of the D flat in the middle, you play a D. So it's B flat, D natural, F, and the rest of it in the right hand is exactly the same. So with the voice, it's Now with the left hand, again the first half is the same, and then the second half, it's pretty similar but it's an octave lower, so again it's F, C, F, hold that for 3 and then repeat the F, and then A flat, E flat, A flat, repeat the A flat, and then E flat, B flat, E flat, repeat the E flat, and then B flat, F, B flat, and you hold that, and then just before the chorus begins, you play it again. So with the voice, that should be I'll play that together slowly just so you can get a feel for it. This is how the second chorus should sound. The first half of this chorus is exactly the same as we played the first time. Then the second half is very similar to what we did the first time, except it's an octave above and just a few differences. So it starts with D flat, F, A flat, C. So you play this twice. And then you've got A flat major, so E flat, A flat, C. Play that twice. Then E flat, so E flat, G, B flat, play that twice, and then F minor, F, A flat, C, play that once, and then, so you're playing this bit in thirds, so the notes that you're doing are, and, so the way that I do this, to make it more comfortable for the fingers, is you've got B flat and D flat together with your second and fourth finger. And then with your first and third finger, you go to A flat and C. So it's... And then holding on your first finger, so your thumb, you move over to the G and the B flat. And then using your first and third finger, you go F and A flat together. So the notes are... But if you're connecting it, it's... So just that bar with the timings is 1, 2, 3, 4. Taking that up to speed and adding the pedal, it should sound like this. Let's finish off the right hand now. So it's basically exactly the same as what we just learnt. So instead of doing all 4 chords in thirds, you only play the first 2. And that bar with the timings again is 1, 2, 3, 4. If we play all of that with the voice, then it should sound like this. As if it's your last, as if it's your last, as if it's your last night, hold on, love. As if it's your last, as if it's your last, as if tomorrow will not come, love. Now let's move on to the left hand. So we've got D flat, A flat, D flat. Hold that for 3 beats, and then on the 4th beat you repeat the D flat. Then you go to A flat and E flat, and then you repeat the A flat. Then we've got E flat and B flat, repeat the E flat, and then we've got F and C. And you play this twice, so like 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we just put that together with the pedal, it should sound like this. The the next bit you've got D flat and A flat. And then again you repeat the D flat, you've got A flat and E flat. Repeat the A flat, E flat and B flat. Repeat the E flat, and then you've got F and C, but this time you only play it once instead of twice. So just that little bit will go. So if we add the voice to that, it should sound like this. As if it's your last, as if it's your last, as if it's your last night, hold on, love. As if it's your last, as if it's your last, as if tomorrow will not come, love. So now I'll just put these two hands together slowly for the second half of the chorus. Now we've learned up until the end of the second chorus, so we're moving on to the bridge, the bit that starts with 1, 2, 3. So this is how it should sound all together. If we start with the right hand, then we've got an F minor chord, C, F, A flat, and you hold that for the whole bar. And then we go to A flat major, so we've got C, E flat, A flat. Again, hold that for the whole bar. Then we've got E flat, G, B flat. Hold that for the bar. And then we go down to D flat, F, A flat. So hold that chord for the whole bar. If I put the voice with that, it's 1, 2, 3, now we're starting this from scratch, cause I swear you will never find me looking back. Now if we put the left hand with that, it's just very simple chords in fifths again. So we've got F and C, hold that for the whole bar, and then down here for A flat and E flat, hold that for the bar, E flat and B flat, hold that for the bar, and then D flat and A flat, again hold that for the bar. So with the voice that will be 1, 2, 3, now we're starting this from scratch, cause I swear you won't ever find me looking back. If we put those two hands together, then it should sound like this. And then the next section, very similar in the right hand, so you've got F minor chord again, C, F, A flat. Hold that for the whole bar, and then A flat chord, so we've got C, E flat, A flat, hold that, and then we've got E flat, but we're just a little bit lower on the piano, so we've got B flat here, and then E flat, G, and then we go down again to the D flat chord, which is A flat, D flat, F, and hold that, and then we've got B flat major, so F, B flat, D natural. And then just before you get to the chorus, you go. So that's an F and another F at octave intervals, and you play that 1, 2, 3, 4 times. I was counting. So yeah, you've got that 1, 2, 3, 4 in that rhythm because it's mimicking the BLACKPINK in your, and then you just hold it until the chorus starts for a final time. So if we put the voice with that, then it should be, if I throw myself to you, have to promise that you'll catch me, because all the world won't tear us down like that, BLACKPINK in your area. For that section in the left hand, we're going F, C, F. We play this twice, and then we go to A flat, E flat, A flat, and play that twice. Down here for E flat, B flat, E flat, play that twice. And then go up for D flat, A flat, D flat, again play that twice. And then just once you play B flat, F, B flat, and then you just hold that. And then when the right hand comes in with this octave, that's when you take this hand off. So if we add the voice to this bit, then it should sound like, if I throw myself to you, I have to promise that that you'll catch me, because all the world won't tear us down like that. Blackpink in your area. And on the is when you come off, because that's when this note comes down. So let's put those two hands together for that little section there. Now we're on to the final chorus, which is exactly the same as it was the first time that we played it. So just as a recap, it should sound like this. That's the end of the song. Thank you so much for watching my piano tutorial of As If It's Your Last by BLACKPINK. I hope that you found it helpful, and as I said, this is my first piano tutorial I've done, so if you have any improvements, suggestions, then just let me know in the comments. Tell me whether you want me to do this type of video for other songs, some of my other K-pop covers. Yeah, just let me know what you think. If you did enjoy it, remember to like, and of course comment, share and subscribe. Turn on notifications to get told straight away when I upload a video, and I shall see you soon in my next video. Thanks for watching, bye!